Hello everyone, this is Moses from Wilona's Cave. Let me begin by doing a quick recap of the last episode. Merrick the Witcher asked Elros questions about the events he saw in his nightmare, and if he was aware of the dark entities. Elros stated that he did see a monster, and that monster acted unusual and climbed into a stone sarcophagus in the woods. Also, he is aware of stories of people's names being called out from the deep within the forest, and that the people will travel long ways and get consumed by the darkness. We ended the last episode with Merrick asking Elros if he can guide the group through the forest and make camp. In turn for the help, Merrick said that Elros could finally become free of this dark forest near Diamond Lake. Now let's jump right in and continue with the adventure of the Witcher. The scene that I have set up for this episode is as follows. Make camp in the forest to find the monster, also to find out where the darkness is coming from. Okay, let me roll on Mythic to see if the scene I just stated has been modified. The chaos factor is 5, so a roll of 5 or less, then the scene has been modified. Let's drop in a d10 and re-roll. And it rolled on a 6, so the scene I just stated has not been modified. Before I begin, I want to see if Elros, the halfling, will take up Merrick's offer and help guide the team through the forest, sort of like an advanced hireling. Let me roll on the Mythic Fate chart to find out. I would think that Elros would really want to leave this area that he has been trapped in for so very long. I am going to put the odds at very likely that Elros will agree to join our party. So with the odds at very likely and the chaos rank at 5, a roll of 85 or below, the answer is yes. Drop in a D100, re-roll, and it rolled on a 46, so Elros will join our party. Now let's get to the narrative. Elros responds to Merrick's request from the last episode for joining the group. Yes, Merrick, I will join your group. I have been here for too long. I will get my things together at once. Elros leaves and prepares for the journey to leave his treehouse, hopefully for the last time. Hannah tells Merrick and Diggory, I will go outside and tell Mina to fly to see if she can see if there's any danger nearby. Hannah then goes outside with her horned owl companion. Diggory looks at Merrick and says, It is best that we move as quickly as possible while there is still sunlight. We need to have a plan when we set camp. I can sense an evil presence in these dark woods. Diggory then picks up his gear and heads outside. Merrick is now alone. All Merrick can think about was his nightmare and the voices that he heard in his dream. Then he shakes his head, stands up, grabs his gear, and heads out. Merrick walks outside and sees Mina flying high in the sky, while Hannah stares at Mina soaring. He then sees that Diggory is kneeling down next to the river. Merrick walks towards Diggory. He notices that he is staring into the water. Merrick was about to say something, but he saw Diggory put his large hand into a bag that is strapped to his waist. He then raises his closed hand over the moving river, slowly opens his hand, and a shimmering powder drops from his hand and falls onto the river. The shimmering dust flows down the river. Merrick notices that Diggory utters something, but he could not understand him. After Diggory stops speaking, Merrick noticed a portion of the powder that is floating on the river begins to glow. The glowing powder then flows up the river against the current. Now, does Merrick ask Diggory what he had just witnessed? Let's go to the fate chart and see if Merrick will ask what that powder was about. I'm going to put the odds at 50-50, and with a chaos rank of 5, that is a 50 or below for a yes. Let me drop in a D100 and re-roll. And it rolled on a 5, which is an extreme yes. Now, how do I interpret an extreme yes for asking a question? I got it. Merrick is still going to simply ask what Diggory was doing, but since there is an extreme yes, Diggory will now fully tell Merrick what he just did. Now, I, Moses, the GM and player, already know what Diggory was doing. I use events and stories from my solo RPG hobby and channel to help me write books. which I recently self-published the first book of the Wilona's Cave series. I'll leave a link in the description. So I know what Diggory was doing because it is something I have already written in my notebook. Now back to the narrative. Merrick looks at Diggory and asks him, "Diggory, what was that shining powder?" Diggory slowly stands up, dusts off his hands, and responds, "There's a special ancient power that not many in the forest realm possess any longer. The power allows one to speak in an ancient tongue and transform the words said into a message. That message will then travel to where it needs to go." Merrick then asks, "What was the message?" Diggory looks at Merrick and started to respond but was interrupted. "Is everyone ready? I got everything I need to leave this place forever." Elros can be heard yelling from the top of the treehouse. Diggory responds, "Yes, we are ready." Diggory then walks past Merrick and walks towards Hannah. Merrick then looks at the glowing powder now floating further up the river. Now, I said that Hannah had Mina fly above to see if there are any threats nearby, so let's see if there's any danger. Let's go to the fate chart and ask. It is daytime, so I would think the likelihood of there being any threats near is minimal. Let's put the odds at very unlikely, and at a chaos rank of 5, which would mean we need a 25 or below to get an answer of yes. Let's drop in a D100 and re-roll. And it rolled on a 71. So there is no nearby threat in the dark forest near the treehouse. Then Hannah looks up towards Mina and yells, "Mina, come to me." Mina looks down at Hannah and flies down to her and lands on her arm. Hannah looks at Mina and asks, "Did you see anything, Mina?" Mina shakes her head and then tucks her head under her wing. Elros asks, "What did she say?" Hannah responds, "She didn't see anything that would be a threat." Elros responds, "Excellent. Then there is no time to waste. The more we travel in the daylight, the better." The rest of the group agrees, and they all head out into the dark forest. The group follows Elros the entire day, and then Elros stops near a... What did Elros stop near? Let me roll on a supplement and find out. I'm going to roll on the Book of Random Tables under forest locations. Let me drop in a D100 and re-roll. It rolled on a 22. And a 22 is a campsite, nonetheless, with the inhabitants slaughtered. Oh, wow. What are the odds? That's crazy. Rolling on a random table, and it rolls not only on a campsite that is already set up, but that there are bodies everywhere. Okay. The party members look at the campsite, and then they look at all of the bodies. The party members then look at each other, each one wondering how this happened. And you know what? With that, I'm going to end the episode here. Let me do some quick bookkeeping. Any new NPCs? No, there is not, but Elros has joined the party for however long that is. Any threads completed? Yes, we did complete 3 threads that I checked off. 1. We found a safe or safer passage around Diamond Lake. 2. We found a campsite. 3. We convinced Elros to come with us. Any new threads? Well, there are bodies everywhere, so I am going to add a thread of what happened to the inhabitants of this campsite. Now, for the chaos factor. Up until we found the bodies, I was going to lower the chaos factor to 4. But because we found the bodies, I'm going to raise it to a 6. That completes the bookkeeping. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and if you would like to follow along, please subscribe to the channel and like, share, and comment as well. Thank you all for watching another episode from Wilona's Cave. Happy gaming, everyone. Bye.